So today we're going to go over Amazon Web Server and just how to set up a server on there, just kind of like what we did with the Google video not too long ago. So I'll just walk you through how to make an account, how to get your credits and everything set up, and just get everything running. Since it is a little bit different than Google and you do have a lot more options, I'll just kind of go through everything here with you today. So here we go. So to get started on Amazon, the first thing you're going to want to do is just go here and just Google AWS. It's going to bring you to their main page right here that like you see. So if you just click on the first link, this is what you're going to be pulled up to. So in the top right, which you're not going to be able to see right now since I do have my face cam up, you're going to have like your my account or create an account. And then after you've actually created an account, there's going to be a big orange button right here that says sign into console. So if you click that, it's actually going to take you to this page right here. So this is going to show you what servers you have and just kind of like a brief overview of your account and everything that's running. So as you see, I don't have any running servers or instances right now, but I do have 2 volumes. So those are my 2 servers, just they're not running right now. But with how Amazon works is I'm essentially reserving that equipment in that area until I want to turn mine back on to essentially run it. Now, the thing with Amazon is since I am reserving this and they are dedicated servers, unlike Google, which they are essentially pooled resources, where at any time, if they do need it, they'll actually be able to pull resources from other of their applications, which is why sometimes during like bigger drops or anything like that, you're not going to be getting the same speeds that you did when you first set up and tested it. Where Amazon, you're going to essentially get what you tested at the very beginning is what you're going to get during a drop day, since you do have a dedicated resource pool. So right here you do see my 2 volumes, and then you do see a key. So how Amazon works to sign into your consoles or your servers is it's going to make you save a certain passphrase or whatever to your hard drive of your computer, which then you will actually have to decrypt to be able to get the password to log into your server, which we'll go over that later. So just to kind of first go over all of this, this is what you would see when you would hop in. So you're just going to want to click Launch Instance. And now the difference with Google is we're actually going to have a lot more options here. So as you see right off the bat, there is a 2019 base that you can choose. Now the only difference between what year on your servers is just 1 is going to be your cost and 2 is going to be your preference. So if you've used the 2012s or 2016s and you're very familiar with how that operating system works, then you're more than welcome to use that, and there shouldn't be too much of a difference in performance. Now if you're going from like a 2012 or 2016 to the 2019s, the biggest difference you are going to see is just cost. It's going to cost you more since they are a newer license or operating system. Amazon has to pay more, which means they're going to charge you more to run it. So the best thing I have found lately is actually just on their 2016 servers, which is just right down here. So you're not actually going to want to choose any of these containers. That's not something you guys need to deal with. So you're just going to look right here for the base. So that's the one you guys are going to want. So I'm just going to choose that as my operating system. And then right here, you can filter essentially how you're going to want to search for these. So I always search, first of all, by computers, how many cores you have. So as you see, it starts out at 128 cores, which unless you're doing huge data stuff like in analytics, you're never going to need that. So I would say for most of you, 8 to 16 is going to be just fine. That's going to be more than your normal computer, and it's going to be able to host and hold. Even if you want to run multiple bots on there, it should run just fine. So I always try to look for about 8 and around 32 gigabytes for RAM. So this is your RAM one right here. So as you see, this is the one I actually use. So 8 cores and 32 gigabytes of RAM. Now your EBS and stuff, you don't have to pay too much attention to that. That's just not something we're going to really go over in this video. But the next thing you're going to want to actually pay attention to is right here. So this is your network speed or your bandwidth that it actually has available on this server. So as you see, this one can actually go up to 10 gigabytes per second. Now, a lot of proxy providers have moved over to like the 10 gigabytes for their networks. So you just want to make sure that the server you are choosing is actually able to use your proxies to their full extent. So if you don't have a 10 gigabyte per second network, like right here, it's only going to be able to send requests as fast as essentially the bandwidth or their cables provide. Whereas you see right here, it's only going up to 5 gigabytes. That's going to cut your speeds in half for how fast it can actually send requests. You do see some of them up to 25 gigabytes. You can use that. Like you see, it is going to be a little bit more costly, but that will allow you that if there's a lot of flow of data or anything like that, it does have more room for error, so that way you can still be maxing out at 10 gigabytes. Now, you don't really need to go over the rest of this for your configure instance and all that. Honestly, it's pretty useless. I've already gone through it multiple times, and you usually just click next. So what we're going to have you do is you just click review and launch, or configure instance details. So right here, it's going to bring you straight to your end one. It's going to go over everything here that you chose. That you saw, it looks like I accidentally just swapped over to the 25 gigabyte one, which, like I said before, you're not going to really need. So I'm not actually going to launch this one right now because I already do have 2 of them running currently. Well, not running, but already idle. So I'm just going to kind of swap over to there and kind of show you what it's going to look like after you actually finish creating yours. Alright, so after your server is done launching, it's going to bring you to this page right here, which you can see. I am going to kind of mark out my instant IDs, as I don't really want anyone to see those to kind of prevent any DDoSing, even though most likely not going to happen, but still always a precaution. Right here you do see my key name, so that's just what I saved essentially the file name as for the key that I saved. So when yours first starts, it's going to have a green light. It's going to say it's starting. It's going to go through a status check and everything right here as well. I've never had any alarm status, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. So after it's gone through all of its checks, it just goes through and makes sure that the server and everything is running properly. You're going to click right here. So when you click connect, it's actually going to have you, for the first time when you click connect, it's going to have you set a password and everything like that, which as you see I already have. So you're just going to type in your password and save it as a file onto your hard drive. Then it's going to ask you to go browse and find that file again. It'll pop it up, and then it'll actually decrypt it for you, which will then give you your password that you can use to actually log into your server. So as you see, mine right now are stopped. I don't really want to start them right now, as I don't want to pay for them at the moment. But when you hit connect right here, you'll be able to connect. Like I said, it'll walk you through step by step to download or decrypt your password. And then after you've decrypted your password, you're just going to want to copy it and just save it to your clipboard or whatever. And then when you'll hit next again, it's going to ask you to download the RDP file or your remote desktop file. So after you've downloaded that, you're just going to want to launch it. It'll actually autofill your username in there for you, and then you're just going to have to paste the password that was decrypted earlier. Now, I will do a video later if it is needed, if anyone's really getting stuck on this. I will answer any questions in the comment section, but it's actually pretty simple on that part, so that's why I didn't walk over that part, and just because I didn't want to show any info on my side. So the next thing I'm going to go over is just credits, since that's the biggest thing with Amazon and the difference between payments on Google. So with ours in Amazon, it's going to charge you just like it does on Google, like your per hour that you run it. But on Amazon, it's actually going to charge you like dollar for dollar that you use. So what a lot of people do to get around that, since running these servers, if you paid dollar per dollar for essentially how long you ran them, it would just not be financially worth it. So what you can do is they actually do have Amazon credits that you can buy. So if you either know You can go search for them on eBay. There are some Twitter accounts I know of, or if you're in a cook group, they should actually have a provider for those. Like in ours, we pay $30 for $150 worth of Amazon credit, which goes actually a long way. So $60 would give you the same amount of credit as Google when they give you a free credit there, except for you're actually going to be getting a dedicated instance, and it's actually going to run a lot better. So I'll just kind of go over that part for you real quick. So if you just click right here in the top right, as you guys aren't going to be able to see this, but you'll have your account name, and if you just click my account, it's going to bring you right here. Now this has all of your information and everything like that, so I'm just going to kind of blank that out, so that's why you're not going to see anything on this part. But if you go right into here where it says credits underneath your billing section, this is where you're actually going to be able to input those credits that you bought. So as you see on my side, I'm just going to blank out the credit names again. You can kind of see how much I've used and how much I do have left. So I almost have $300 left of credit. So I did buy about $300 not too long ago. And then I also had another $150 from a couple months ago when I first started these. So the biggest thing with Amazon is you don't get a per hour cost analysis. So it's a little bit harder to kind of gauge how much you've spent running your server compared to Google, where you can just watch your credits kind of slowly dwindle down and you'll know when you're getting close to zero, so that way you're not going to be charged. Now Amazon, how they do it is they will run every hour that you're on, they're just going to essentially add that into a bill, and if you don't delete your instances, they'll charge you for reserving essentially the equipment, which is very, very minimal, but it is still a fee. So on these ones, it's a little bit harder to, like I said, to kind of gauge how much you've spent. But as you see right here, I spent about $150 last month worth of credit, which was only $30, which is well worth it. But what I always recommend to all my members and just kind of anyone that's getting into Amazon is to always buy your credits, like buy your first credits at the beginning of the month. So you buy $150 and you input that. And then at the end of the month, if you felt that you've used your server a lot, to buy another $150 and just put it in that way. That way, if you do end up going over your $150 worth of credit that you've already added, it's actually going to be able to essentially roll over into your next credit rather than just charging you the remainder dollar for dollar of what you used. So, because essentially right now we're getting $5 for every $1 that we put into Amazon, where if you don't have credits, you're going to have to pay $1 for every dollar that you use. So you're losing money on that part. So you're just going to input your promo code right here. So after you buy them, your provider should give you a code for it. Then you're just going to put your security check, and that's it. So that's how you're going to add all of your credits. And like I said, I always recommend to use credits, never to pay for it out of pocket, as it does run a lot more. So that is pretty much everything. After, like I said, if you've launched your server, if you just want to go back to my other videos, if you're getting stuck on like your internet enhanced like security settings, like if your browser isn't letting you go download your bots or anything like that, I'll actually put the link to my other video in the description below. But all you're going to want to do is just the main server manager pops up and it's just on the first page right there. But if you guys have any questions, like I said, I'm more than happy to answer, go over anything just in the comments section. And for our next video, we're just going to kind of start doing bot reviews and live cops. So if you guys see any bots right here that you would like a review or just kind of go over more in depth, kind of like what we did for Nike Shoebot, just kind of leave it in the comment section below. The most upvoted one will be the next one I actually do. Kodai and Cyber, kind of like one of the two best bots I think right now on the market. So just let us know your thoughts. We'd be more than happy to cover them. Thank you so much.